4. Chapter 1. This calls for a mind with wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 hills on which the woman sits. They are also 7 kings. 5 have fallen, 1 is, the other has not yet come, but when he does come, he must remain for only a little while. The beast who once was, and now is not, is an 8th king. He belongs to the 7 and is going to his destruction. The 10 horns you saw are 10 kings who have not yet received a kingdom, but who for 1 hour will receive authority as kings along with the beast. Revelation 17 verses 9 to 12. The 7 kings in Revelation 17 are not the same as the 10 horns, described as kings who have not yet received any power in verse 12. In contrast to the 5 of the 7 who have had power and have fallen in the previous verses. The 10 horns gain power in the future, but at the same time, 5 kings of the 7 hills have fallen. Hills are symbolic for mountains or nations. The woman is the federal head established in Jerusalem, ruling in spiritual idolatry and in the name of God in his temple. The city sits on the beast with 7 heads in other verses as well. The city stands for Jerusalem, now the federal capital region, who rules over 6 other states. It's talking about the past and the future at the same time in that 17th chapter. The 7th head of the dragon emerges as the main head of the beast from the sea. The red dragon is past empires, and the beast of the sea is in the future, 6 heads or states under 1 federal state. The 17th chapter is speaking about the past, with the 7 kings 6 are talking about the past and 1 the future. The 7th head of the dragon is the 7-headed beast from the sea. It's the main head of the beast from the sea, which rises with the other 6, which hasn't risen yet. The red dragon is the 7 successive empires of the past: Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Media-Persia, Macedonia, Rome, and the future federal head with 6 states serving beneath it. The beast from the sea is the 7th head of the red dragon. It is 6 states under 1 federal capital reigning in Jerusalem. The 5 kings that fell are the leaders of Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Media-Persia, and Greece, or the Macedonian Empire. The one that was at that time was Rome. The one that comes for a little while is the beast from the sea with the 10 kings or horns and 7 heads or states as 1 future empire, which then evolves into the beast of the earth, and then into the beast from the abyss as the 8th head of the 7. In chapter 17, the 7 kings are the same as the 7 heads of the dragon in the 12th chapter. The 7 kings are described also as hills or mountains, meaning kingdoms, cf. Daniel 2 verse 35, in Revelation chapter 17. These 7 empires persecuted believers, from simply requiring tribute to exacting martyrdom and banning their religion. These empires were ruling over ancient Israel because of Israel's sins. That said, these empires that make up the heads of the dragon were essentially claiming their own worldly authority over God's authority. The 7 kings are the kings from Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Media-Persia, Greece, and Rome. The Pharaoh from Moses' time, Sennacherib from Assyria, Nebuchadnezzar from Babylon, Darius from Media/Persia, Alexander the Great from Greece, and the one that is at that time was Domitian, when the book was written, who led Rome. The one that will come is the future Antichrist occult king, most likely the white horse rider, who appears with 6 other heads or states under his federal reign in the future. The royal 8th head is Azazel from Rev 9 and the other 4 angels from the Euphrates, Semjaza, Barakijal-Amaros, and Kokabel/Tamiel according to Enoch 8, Genesis 6 verse 4, Jude 1 verse 6, 2 Peter 2:4, and 1 Corinthians 11 verse 10. The 2 witnesses overcome the Antichrist and little horn false prophet beast from the earth in a similar fashion as Moses and Aaron, who overcame Pharaoh during the Exodus plagues. The beast and false prophet are not destroyed until later in chapter 19 to 20, but they're overcome by the testimony of the 2 witnesses, which coincides with 1 of the seals and most of the trumpets. One of the plagues they can perform in Revelation 11 verse 6, turning water into blood syncs with what happens at the 2nd trumpet in Revelation 8 verse 8. The beast that has not yet ascended from the bottomless pit to kill the 2 witnesses, mentioned in Revelation 11:7, 17:8 and 11, and 9:1-11, is Azazel and the others from Genesis 6 verse 4, before the flood. You can read what the New Testament writers Peter, Paul, John, and Jude say and allude to concerning them, and who the sons of God were identified as by them in 2 Peter 2:4, 1 Corinthians 11 verse 10, Jude 1 verse 6, and Revelation 11:7, 17:8, and 11:9:1-11, describing the same story of the angels written in Enoch 8-10 in the Watcher's book. That is the eighth head, the destroyer Azazel, who came with the others before the flood. The seven kings or mountains/kingdoms of Revelation 17 described earlier are overcome by the two witnesses until the eighth, who is part of the seven, comes out of the abyss to kill them, right before the mid-tribulation rapture at the seventh trumpet, described in Revelation 11 verses 9-15 and 1 Corinthians 15 verse 52. The seven kings are different from the 10 kings. The seven kings relate to the past, as 6 of the red dragon's heads in Revelation 12. The 10 kings refer to the future beast from the sea's horns, also described in Daniel 7. The seventh head of the dragon is the main head of the beast from the sea, which is inspired by the red dragon who gives the beast its power and authority in chapter 13. The beast from the earth is similarly inspired by the beast from the sea. They appear one after another. If you read NASB or NE versions that use the older manuscripts of the 13th chapter, it says the dragon sat at the shore of the sea before the beast of the sea rises up, Revelation 13 verse 1. The red dragon symbolizes both the past and future empires. The dragon started out as a serpent in the garden. It was condemned to eat dust all its days on earth. Mankind was condemned to be that dust. The serpent turns into a seven-headed dragon in that way, with all mankind's empires in it from all time. With its tail it takes out 1/3 of the fallen angels, meaning Azazel, and the rest before it grew, from consuming the 7 empires of mankind, which includes the Holy Roman Empire, clay, and iron. And the prelude of the 7th head occult kingdom manifesting as the Revolutionary Wars of the Illuminati, before the White Horse Rider conquers and replaces Rome completely with the occult kingdom. This is the 4th beast in Daniel 7, both the east and west iron legs, and the clay and iron east and west feet, symbolizing old pagan Gnostics and followers of Abraham's God. The Holy Roman Empire, which includes Islam as a denomination within its domain of the empire's Abrahamic ethos, is the feet made of clay and iron in Daniel's vision. The beast from the sea that arises is the entire statue at one time. The second advent is the rock that amassed rolling down the hill to smash the statue in the vision. Revelation 12 is a symbolic picture that describes the whole epic from the garden to the first and then second advent. It has 7 crowns instead of the beast, who has 10 crowns on the horns, because the fallen angels led by Azazel this time winds up taking the lead of the main or federal head as the royal authority of the 8th king, which is of the 7 described in Rev 17. This happens when the 2 witnesses overcome the 7th head, only to be killed by the beast from the abyss, before they rise from the dead right before the 7th trumpet sounds in chapter 11. This is how the red dragon has 7 crowns, but the beast from the sea has 10 crowns. Both have 1 crown on each of their 6 heads, but the main head of one has 1 crown for Azazel, who winds up in control of that 7th head. They each have 4 horns on their main head, but the red dragon has only 1 crown on those horns. That is the 7-crowned red dragon from the past until the final king Azazel before the second advent takes over. The beast from the sea has 3 more crowns for the 3 other kings or horns on that main head with 4 horns, until they are replaced by the beast of the earth, who overshadows according to Daniel 7 verses 8 and 3 of the horns on the beast from the sea. The beast from the earth is overshadowed by the fallen angels, who now have Azazel wearing 1 crown on the main head. The 7 heads on the dragon are previous empires: Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Media/Persia, Greece, and Rome, plus the beast from the sea that rises in the future. The dragon is those past empires, and the beast from the sea is the future final head of the red dragon. The 7th head of the dragon is the main head of the beast of the sea. Headed by the white horse rider, he is one of the 10 horns in the future, He is overshadowed when the beast from the earth rises to sink as the little horn of Daniel 7 verse 8, described in Revelation 13. There are 4 horns on the main head of the beast, and 6 others on the other heads, which are states serving beneath it. 3 of those 4 horns on the main head are overshadowed by the false prophet leaving 2, as the beast from the earth. The horn that's left rules on behalf of the first beast. The beast from the sea with 4 horns are the white horse rider, the admin of the Fed and states, or CFO-like character, like Assyria's formation. See YouTube channel Assyria, the First Evil Empire at 4 to 5 minutes. The other 2 represent the kings of the East and West Catholic and Orthodox Church. They call an ecumenical council under the Antichrist Emperor, as they did under Constantine and various others during the 7 ecumenical councils, to rewrite the laws of the Church encompassing all religion. Then a false prophet or little horn arises as the beast from the earth with 2 horns, with the administrator from the previous empire as he helps the false prophet manage the system. The old heads of the Eastern and Orthodox religion are overshadowed by the false prophet, and the Antichrist is overshadowed by the false prophet who makes an image of the beast. And the Antichrist continues military campaigns around the world as the false prophet attends with the system's administrator to the conquered lands of people to process and triage them. There are 4 horns on the federal head of the beast. 2 are the treasurer and the Antichrist white horse rider. The other 2 horns are the heads of the Eastern and Western Orthodox and Christian leaders, but now apostatized and containing with the same formation, all religion in one hedonistic and worldly Neoplatonic Hermetic religion. These 4 with the other horns on each head serve as the 10 kings that plot against the one world technocratic world order, and burn Jerusalem in accordance with Rev 17 and establish a world empire with the capital in Jerusalem in accordance with Rev 11 opening scene and 2 Thessalonians depiction of the Antichrist set up in the temple as if he's God. The 3 horns on the main head are overshadowed in accordance with Daniel's little horn prophecy. This is the Antichrist and the 2 religious leaders from the old structure representing all religions submitted to the federal capital and Antichrist as God. They're overshadowed by the false prophet that arises as the little horn in Revelation 13 as the beast from the earth. This beast has 2 horns. The false prophet and the CEO admin that manages the communication between the states and new religion using the old Catholic and Orthodox structure, and maintains the harmonization of other religions and all tribes and peoples into one new ethos and religion. The Antichrist and the other leaders take a lesser role, putting down rebellions and conquering more lands, while the beast from the earth runs the kingdom established by the Antichrist. The beast from the earth overshadows those 3 Antichrist and Church Patriarch and Pope, and what's left is 2 horns, the previous administrator and the false prophet. Meanwhile, the beast from the sea is worshipped and still in the background of the story, putting down rebellions around the world from peoples that resist the mark of the empire. The problem is false prophet in chapter 16 can just mean it's the beast from the earth, not just an individual, but the white horse rider makes it seem like there is one emperor. The false prophet beast is only seen as an individual using Daniel as the little horn who replaces 3 of the 10. So that's how I figured it. Gave me a lot of trouble. I have it so the beast from the earth horns is part of the 10 at first, and then at some point another separate horn rises and replaces the Pope and Patriarch representing the new religion. The 8th king in Revelation 17 is part of the 7, not part of the 10 horns, because it's described as part of the 7. If the 7th head is the Antichrist from the beast of the sea that is overshadowed by the beast from the earth, who is overcome by the 2 witnesses, then the 8th head are the fallen angels condemned to the abyss, as the beast from the abyss. I got the chronology right, I think, with the 2 witnesses overcoming the beasts until they rise in Rev 11 to kill them. Azazel, Barakijal, Tamiel / Kokabel, Amaros, and Semjaza. You can find that by going to Enoch 8 and narrowing down the angels to these 5 by looking at the 5 subjects all the angels taught. They only taught 5 subjects: black and white magic or poison and medicine, astronomy and astrology, plus mining. The leaders of them Azazel, Semjaza, Barakijal, Amaros, and Tamiel / Kokabel. They are the royal layer of the 7-headed beast, the Antichrist and false prophet, the federal. The 6 states are cultures and cities. Like we have Chinatown and other cultural strata that make up our Western Empire, they rearrange everything to fit into the cultures of the past empires of the dragon. Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Persia, Greece, and Rome. All aspects and manifestations of the federal state headed by the Antichrist claiming to be God and the master of divinity. Revelation 13 describes the 7-headed beast from the sea with 10 horns and 10 crowns as having the feet of a bear, the mouth of a lion, and spots on it like a leopard. This is Revelation using the same symbols from the book of Daniel again, a very common occurrence throughout the book. The beast has the feet of a bear like Daniel's Media, Persia Empire, whose laws stood as pillars, like a bear, that even a king couldn't overturn. Spots like a leopard like Alexander the Great Quick Conquest, and mouth like a lion speaking prideful blasphemies like Babylon in Daniel. That's why I have them triaging people with the AI Marduk statue who accept the mark into populations modeled after Greece, or more like Rome that's not so heavy on belief, but is more secular. Persia for an emphasis on the law and that culture, and Egypt for a more Platonic version of society than Assyria that was more secular like Aristotle, believing in power. The 6 kings rule those as different domains, giving allegiance to the federal 7th head as God, where only the most deserving are allowed to live, or the heads of those states that prove themselves ruling out of Jerusalem temple, where also the prisoners are held. The 8th head is the royal, which overshadows the 7th fed head. The 8th head doesn't fit be the little horn, because these angels are not pridefully boasting like the little horn of the beast from the earth. The angels are torturing and killing people as they rise with hell and the Nephilim. Maybe it is as they gather the nations in the 16th chapter, but I thought the little horn would be better as the beast from the earth. Could be wrong though. Another possibility is that the beast from the sea is the little horn, but I have the 4 horsemen as 4 of the 10 horns on the main head of the beast from the sea, which is ruling over the other 6 heads. The false prophet beast from the earth is the little horn that replaces or overshadows 3 of the 10 horns. In this scenario, the false prophet beast from the earth replaces or overshadows 3 horns on the main head. Even though it's written like the beast from the sea is the little horn, saying he has a mouth to utter proud words and blasphemies, there's still room for it to be the beast of the earth, considering it speaks like a dragon. The beast from the earth has 2 horns that look like a lamb and speak like dragon, apostatized religious formation of the East and West Catholic Orthodox Church. They are part of the 10 as they officially make the ecumenical council with the Antichrist Emperor and proclaim him as God, and then as the new formation appears, a false prophet arises to overshadow everyone. The Antichrist and the other 2 horns, the leaders of the East-West apostatized church, fade into the background, while the false prophet and the administrator take the lead, replacing or overshadowing the other 3 horns on the main head of the beast from the sea, as in Daniel 7 verses 8 to 20. So the little horn rises on the main head with 4 horns and replaces 3 horns, leaving 2 as the beast from the earth. In the background, the Antichrist is suppressing rebellions and conquering holdouts as the false prophet is destroying conquered populations and building up the state, making the AI image and forcing people to accept the mark inside the beast's conquered domains at the capital they established in Jerusalem, the location of Revelation 11. The Marduk AI statue that speaks is AI recalibrated under the beast of the earth. So what happens is there is a shift or evolution from Antichrist to the system of the beast from the earth. All the religions turn into Mystery Babylon, and nobody can recognize the church anymore. It goes from blasphemy under the beast of the sea to a whole new thing, Mystery Babylon, with the Marduk statue and priest as Antichrist plays emperor, like Chronicles of Riddick scene. The 2 witnesses are around as soon as the first seal and beast from the sea rise. Revelation 11 says the outer court is trampled for 42 months, and the 2 witnesses prophesy 1,260 days around the same time. The measuring of the temple and altar is delivered to John. It means to assess and judge it. He is told not to measure the outer court because it is trampled on by foreigners. This is the occult center and capital of the world now. At this time they are prophesying as the war, famine, and death is happening. They are being protected by most likely an earthly defense system based on the rules of the Empire, which is easier explained than a divine one with fire coming from their mouths. It probably has to do with the way they answer the persecutors so that they are not killed by a mob. In fact, even those beheaded could be protected by the same system. But these two are not at risk because of their status as leaders of the resistance. The government of the beast probably wants them to dry up and lose hope as they see everything go on. The first 3 seals is the capital conquered, then people allowed to kill each other in war, then famine. It seems like that's the beast rising. The 4th seal with power of war, famine, and plague seem to be when the beast from the earth emerges to work on behalf of the first beast. But the conquest is the first thing that happens. At the 5th seal, people are crying out, believers, like Israel did under Egypt. Then it's the 6th seal with a great earthquake, and also like Egypt, darkness. The fact that there are similarities with the Exodus plague make me think this ties into the 2 witnesses, who are described being able to perform plagues like turning blood to water. The 2 witnesses might be able to perform plagues before the 6th seal, and maybe that's what keeps them alive, being able to compete and win against the philosophy of the AI image and are deemed worthy. Or maybe it's divine fire out their mouths, but for the sci-fi apocalyptic book it's the former. The resistance of the 2 witnesses is the church, and like Israel was in Exodus, 2 leaders are raised like Moses and Aaron. For the story, it makes sense. One is a Messianic Jew that converted from Orthodox Jew as the temple was desecrated, having his hopes up it would have been a good thing, changes like Paul. The other one probably a Gentile Catholic or Orthodox or Protestant that saw their religion collapse as well. Each seal and trumpet is 97 days until they are killed, and the 7th trump kicks off mid-tribulation rapture, to fit with their 1,260-day testimony mentioned in Revelation 11. Meanwhile, the Islamic, Mahdi, and all other nations resisting are fighting the Jal, or beast from the sea, who rewrites all the holy books and religions into a new occult religion. The Christian Antichrist is the same as the Sunni Jal. The 2 eschatologies synchronize. The first seal, White Horse Rider, is fought by other nations who don't take the mark outside of the capital established in Jerusalem, while these 2 witnesses for 1,260 days are accomplishing their testimony in the capital of the beast, Jerusalem. See Rev 11. The beast from the earth, or false prophet, rises and builds the AI image of the beast and takes the lead on running the empire, making everyone worship the first beast. The first beast from the sea, or White Horse Rider Antichrist/Jal, at that time focuses on outside the conquered lands, putting down rebellions and conquering the unconquered and bringing them to the capital, letting the false prophet manage the conquered peoples and giving authority to the false prophet to run the show, while the false prophet forces everyone to worship the Antichrist and his kingdom. The other nations are holding out miraculously by divine physical and tactical miracles, hanging on a thread, accomplishing the Islamic eschatology, while simultaneously the 2 witnesses accomplish our eschatology. They come together at the mid-tribulation rapture, which is a type of nightly pilgrimage, and Jesus' foot descending on a minaret in Damascus signals the end of Revelation 19 in our version. Not only for Islam, for all of the nations who refuse the mark and empire, India and a few other nations. The mid-tribulation rapture happens to everyone that doesn't take the mark everywhere. These other non-Christian nations like Islam become the kings of the nations after the second advent, and after a generation passes away, they rebel with others from our side as Gog and Magog. Each generation not killed is changed to accomplish Isaiah 65 verse 20, living as long as the patriarchs. So at that time, it's a whole new generation and time. Usually, the Shiite Mahdi is the Sunni Jal, but in this version, even most the Shiites reject the Antichrist because he's claiming to be God and placing what's secular as divine, among other things of that nature that no traditional religion could willingly accept without complete apostasy and abandonment of their faith and what's true. The first 4 seals are the onset of the beast from the sea. Around the 4th or 5th seal is the evolution to the beast of the earth and the martyrs. Around the end of the 5th seal until 5th trumpet is the major part of the testimony of the 2 witnesses. 5th trumpet is the rise of the angels from abyss. Wormwood opens a portal by mixing with H20 as it crashes to earth. to open the abyss to Hades, where the angels emerge with the Nephilim/Locust army in Revelation 8 and then 9. Seventh trumpet is the mid-tribulation rapture. And the rest is the bowls of wrath on the angels and the second advent, followed by the final rebellion, Judgment Day, and New Jerusalem. The terms of salvation seem to change at that time according to Revelation 20 verse 4. The nations and peoples who don't take the mark and hold out as unbelievers against Antichrist become kings of the nations in Second Advent, who later rebel before final judgment in the second generation after the Second Advent. Also look at Isaiah 65 verse 20, and the change that extends life in those who survive to age of patriarchs like Methuselah or Noah, reaching 500 to 900-year lifespans. The rest who are killed come back before judgment at Second Advent as first fruits in resurrected bodies with Jesus in Rev 20. Chapter 4. Chapter 1. This calls for